Okay, so we were, let me share the screen. Yes. So I was discussing this. AH is equals to ZI by 2R, ZI by 2R into SA by G. So let us come to the first thing. What is the zone factor? Z, which I was discussing, the zone factor Z. It is considered for maximum considered earthquake. We then don't have to learn so many things. The main things which we have to find out is this value. For seismic zone 1 and 2, it is the seismic intensity is low. We have to take 0.10 value. For seismic zone 3, we have to take 0.16, which is again a moderate value. Pardon. Yes. So 0.10 seismic intensity. Then we have 0.16 for seismic zone 3. Then for 0.24 for severe case zone 4. And for zone 5, it is 0.36. So instead, when we will put the values, either we can select the city. With respect to city, also there is a database for zone as well as zone factor. So that means either you can directly give the zone factor value, or you can give the zone or the city. Anything you can give, the database, they will automatically take the zone factor. That means just like in the last page, Annexure G of IS 1893, for various cities in India, zone factor and the seismic zone is mentioned. Same thing, it is written in StatPro also. Now coming to this, very important, that is the zone factor. Okay, zone factor, yes, I discussed this thing. This coming to importance factor, yes. Importance factor. Importance factor is basically a factor which is based on the purpose of the building. That means for which purpose the building is to be constructed, whether it is a residential building or commercial building or something like that. Whether it is a residential building, commercial building, shopping mall, college, institute, hospital. So based on that, our importance factor is 1 and 1.5. If you can see this thing, it is well written that important service and community buildings such as hospitals, schools, monumental structures, emergency buildings like telephone exchange, large community halls, cinemas, then we'll take the importance factor 1.5, and other buildings, that is for residential buildings, we will take 1. Response reduction factor. Okay, so the response reduction factor is very important. See, it is written the ratio I by R. It is importance factor by response reduction factor should not be greater than 1. So that is a different aspect. It is for MCQ purpose, but mainly response reduction factor. Again, these values are given in the table. See, this is the table 8.3 of IS 1893. This IS 1893 is very important. So in table 8.3c, the response reduction factor R for building system. For building frames, normal building frames, we have ordinary RC moment resisting frame OMRF, that is response reduction factor is 3. OMRF is basically the frame building which we design according to IS 456 2000 code. Okay. IS 456 2000 code, this code if we design, that is called OMR, ordinary moment resisting frame. Okay, mind it, whenever you're going for design about, if you're designing with 456 code, R will be 3. And if we are using special RC moment resisting frame, SMRF, then the response reduction factor will be 5. SMRF is special moment resisting frame where the moments have a high moment carrying capacity. You have learned moment distribution method, slope deflection method. In moment distribution method, again we have the stiffness concept. So they have the moment carrying capacity. So whenever we are designing code as per the ductile detailing, IS 13920 1993. Again, I am repeating, if we are providing the reinforcement in beams and columns, slabs, in accordance with IS 13920 1993 13920. So this ductile detailing code, if you provide, then response reduction factor is 5. Then for steel frames, for steel it is different values are given. Again, for buildings with shear walls, for all the cases it is given. So based on your structure, what structure you are designing, based on that, your response reduction factor will be in that manner. Okay. Next is, so Z is done. Just a minute, pardon. Okay. So zone factor Z, importance factor I is over. One thing left, that is SA by G, average response acceleration coefficient. Average response acceleration coefficient, it is basically a factor. See, it depends on the natural time period of the building, T. SA by G is the average response acceleration coefficient. It is based on two values. First is the natural time period, T. Natural time period of a building is basically the time period with which it vibrates. Just like we know the frequency, frequency is basically the number of to and fro vibrations in a 1 second. And the inverse of frequency is T. T equals to 1 by F. So that T is basically on the concept of physics, vibrations and oscillations. Natural time period of the building is basically the time taken for to and fro movement of a building in 1 second. So different buildings have their own value of time period. Again, to calculate this time period, we have a separate formula. So SA by G depends on natural time period and the type of soil. Okay, so let us come to the table 8.1. See, this is the table for SA by G or response acceleration spectra. So SA by G, if you check here, the right side column for rocky or hard soil, if you're taking any construction site which has a rocky or hard soil, then our SA by G will be 1 plus 15T. If you check the right side box, when the time period T is the natural time period. So when the T is lying between 0 to 0.10 second. Again, I will come to the formula of T. First, let us learn how we are finding out the SA by G. So 1 plus 15T when the time period is 0 to 0.1 second. 2.5 when time period is 0.1 to 0.4. And again 1 by T from 0.4 to 4. For medium soil sites, again 1 plus 15T for medium soil. Okay, very important. For medium soil, again the same set of values. Just the last part, if we have 0.55 to 0.4, sorry, 0.55 to 4, then 1.36 by T. So for rocky, medium soil and soft soil, we have the SA by G value. And this is the spectral acceleration coefficient SA by G curve with respect to time period. So it is like a plateau region. So it's like a plateau and it will fall sharply in a gradual manner. So for type 1, type 2 and type 3, we have these curves. So simply they have plotted various time period. They have taken a set of they have taken three set of soils: rocky, soft, and medium soil. And under these various sets, they have taken a set of time period, and the SA by G graph is plotted. Okay, it is called response spectra acceleration coefficient. Coming to the next thing, yes, the fundamental natural time period of a vibration or buildings. So it is very unique. If you check, it is written that it is written in clause 8.5. The approximate fundamental natural time period of vibration, TA, or sometimes we write T suffix N, for a moment resisting frame without brick infill panels. If we are not providing bricks, or sometimes we provide the frame structure and we provide some glass claddings as a facade. Sometimes we use aluminum sheet. So whenever we go for cladding or some facade type of structure, then our time period will be 0.075 h to the power 0.75. I hope you can see the screen. TA is 0.075 h to the power 0.75 for RC frame structures, and for steel structures, TA equals to 0.085 h to the power 0.75, where h is the height of the building in meters starting from the ground level. So this is a special formula only we apply when we are not using brick infill walls. But our formula which we will apply is this one. The approximate fundamental natural time period of vibration of all other buildings, including moment resisting frame, TA is 0.09 divided by root T. This is the basic and simplest formula. Sometimes we take the time period in both the axes, in x-axis as well as in z-axis. So D, if you check, h is the height. Oh, here. One thing is missing. The formula is TA equals to 0.09 into h by root d. Okay, 0.09 into h by root d. H is missing. H is the height of the building in meters. D is the base dimension of the building at the plinth level. That means if you take the length of the building in x direction, then for example, it is Tx. That is the time period along x direction. Then it will be the dimension along x direction. And if we are finding out tz, then it will be the base dimension along the z direction. So depending on which direction you are finding out, we will find out the time period. So based on that, so after getting all these values, we will calculate the AH, and VB equals to AH into W. I hope you can see this formula, where W is the seismic weight of the buildings. And after that, this is the another formula I told you, that vertical distribution of base shear on different floor levels. That means this base shear VB, which we have calculated, they are distributed on all the floors. On this formula, QI, where I is the number of floors, I may be 1, 2, 3, 4. So QI is equals to PB multiplied with WI HI square divided by sigma j equals to 1 to n WJ HJ square. That means if we are, for example, just imagine we have 4 floors. That means VB base shear is constant. For example, I am finding out the lateral force for second floor. So WI will be the seismic weight of second floor. HI will be the height of the second floor from the base. And sigma j equals to 1 to n WJ HJ square. This denominator part is basically the summation of all the flow, summation of the height square and the seismic weight of the individual flows. We will take the cumulative. Everyone understood or not? Or I can explain this. This is the only mathematics which is behind this analysis. Any problem you can ask.
No, sir.
All of you understood what this formula generates? Because during examination time, you will be given to calculate this thing. One of the most important thing in earthquake analysis, because earthquake engineering has gained popularity for the last 1 decade. Okay, so this is the formula which talks about how much force is coming on all the floors. हर फ्लोर में कितना फोर्स आ रहा है, and that will be basically the lateral force. If we calculate or analyze the approximate analysis of frames, which we have learned in structural analysis 2, which I taught you myself, the cantilever method and portal method of frame analysis. The horizontal forces which I used to give in the question, that we can find out from this formula. So coming to our problem statement. Now coming to the problem statement which we will develop and we will study. So to determine the base shear and its distribution along the height of the floor, determine the total base shear, distribute the base shear along the height of the building. The school building, it is located in Bhuj, Gujarat, founded in medium soil. Basic parameters are given here. Okay, it is basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 base along the x-axis. If you take this plane as the XZ plane actually. Okay, so we have 5-meter interval. Okay, so we will do this using translational repeat, and along x direction we have 6 bays of 5-meter interval, and in along z direction we have 2 bays, one 4-meter and another is 2-meter. So this is the center line of column. I was discussing last day. This is the basic center line of columns which we have to follow. Now, yes, this is the elevation of the building. If you can see, we have the floor level. From the ground level, it is 1 meter plinth level, and the heights are 3 meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is basically G plus 4 building. Okay, it's a 5-story building, and the data is given. For any earthquake analysis, we require all these data. Grade of concrete M25, grade of steel taken 415, density of concrete, density of brick wall, all these they have taken. Beam size also along the 5-meter span, 250 mm by 600 mm, 4-meter span, 250 by 550 mm, and 2-meter span. That means along this lengths we will take all this dimension of the all these things. Again, coming to for column size, we will take for 5-meter span 3 mm into 600 mm, and for 2-meter span 300 mm by 500 mm. Okay. So every details are given, and all this load calculation also they have shown. Dead load calculation, self weight of the slab. They have taken slab thickness as 150 mm. See here, all these things you have to do. These are all which we teach in the final year BTech project of how to design a building under earthquake loading. So total the slab thickness, if you take the floor finish, the slab thickness is 5 Newton per meter square. That is a floor load. All these values, dead load of slab per floor, all these things. Beams also, the UDL is given. all these things. And columns also, the self weight, basically the self weight of columns being they have given. Okay, so these things, if we design manually, we have to require all these values. Okay, instead we don't have to use these values because the self weight instead is automatically calculated. Yes or no? Any idea how the self weight is calculated instead? Anyone? Do we have to calculate self weight instead?
না স্যার সেলফ হেড ক্যালকুলেট করতে হয় না।
Why?
স্যার ডাইরেক্ট যে ভ্যালুটা থাকে ওটা সেটা দিয়ে দিলেই তো হয়ে যায় না। মানে সেলফ হেডের জন্য যখন আমি এগুলো মানে লোড কেসে যখন আমি লোড কেস এন্টার করব, যখন লোড কেস ফাইলে তখন ফার্স্ট যে যেটা নেব সেটাই তো সেলফ হেডের জন্য হয়, তো তখন সেলফ হেডে শুধু ডাইমেনশন দিলেই তো, আর মেটেরিয়াল তো জানাই আছে তো সেটা দিলেই হয়ে যায়।
Yes, yes. So we have a self-fit option based on the material, based on the height of the or the dimension of the structure, we can directly calculate. Extra thing we have to put is this weight of the wall, parapet wall, on floors, on roof, all these things. Okay. So this thing, weight of wall per meter, we can see it is 10 kilonewton per meter. You check here, all this data are given. 10 kilonewton per meter is the UDL we will apply on the floor walls, and on parapet wall we will put 2.5 kilonewton per meter. Okay. Also, if you check about the live load, they have taken the live load on floor 4 kilonewton per meter square, since it is a school building. Now, the percentage of imposed load or live load we can consider for seismic weight, because now we are interested to find out the seismic weight of the building. Up to and including 3 kilonewton per meter square, it is 25 percentage, and it is above 3 kilonewton per meter square, it will be 50%. Okay, so since our live load is 4 kilonewton per meter square, which is above 3, so we have to take 50%, that is 2 kilonewton per meter. Understood? Why this? So this is the criteria which I was discussing. How much live load we have to we have to take. Also, this is given in table 8 in clause 7.3.1. Okay, it is mentioned here. Okay, so all the solution is given here. So for floors, our seismic weight coming is 3291 kilonewton, and for roof, it is 1831 kilonewton. So now we will start. So all these calculations are given here. The first we will start the modeling, and the second stage will be giving the earthquake. So I'm sharing the screen. Okay. So new project. I told you I discussed all these things earlier. New project space. Let us take school building. I'm giving a name. School building. Bhuj. I have to select a file and folder. I've selected the units. No problem. So I'm selecting the option add beam. Finish. The first thing is that by looking the center line of columns, I have to first create the nodes. Okay. So let me check this thing. Okay. So we have First, let me draw the nodes. First, I am drawing the first node 0, comma 0, comma 0. Next is let me draw the node. Okay, so now in z direction it will be 4 and another it will be 2. That means at the leftmost corner, so if I select this one, this is the red line, this is the sorry red dot. This node is the leftmost corner of the center line of column. And so let us draw the beams. After drawing one single line of beam, I will conduct the transitional repeat. Okay. So I am selecting this thing. So now I will go for transitional repeat. So I will be doing in the x direction. Number of steps we have. How many bays we have? We have 6 bays. 6 bays. Spacing is 5 meter each. We have to link the steps. Okay. So this is how automatically we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you want to now at this point, you have to check every time if your dimensions are right or wrong. If you can check, if you see here, my dimension all 5 meters. If you want to check, sorry, yeah, this one. You can see it's 5 meter. And also if we show the pictures, it is 4 meter and it is 2 meter. If I take the magnifying image, we have 4 meter and 2 meter. Okay. So again, I want to stop this node to node display, take the isometric view. Okay, this is the isometric view, 3D view, and so I will. No, now we have done the center line of columns. Now we will go for the elevation. Okay, elevation. So we have to do 6 bays or 6 stories actually. Primary, we have to take 6 stories. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 floor heights along with 1 meter plinth level. Okay. So first we will take 1 meter plinth level. We will go for transitional repeat in y direction. Number of steps 1, spacing 1 meter. Okay. This is the plinth level. If you can see, this is the plinth level. And after that, continuing from plinth level, we will go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we will from plinth level. So if I show you, this is my plinth level. Okay. So from plinth level, now I will continue transitional repeat for 5 times because I have 5 stories, each of 3 meter each. So y direction, number of steps 5, spacing 3 meter, link steps. Okay. So see, it is a rectangular plan, quite similar to our CME building, which is quite rectangular in shape. Such buildings is basically they are done whenever we have long corridors. Okay, mainly when we will have long corridors or corridors in hostels, in colleges, in maybe in schools, in hospitals also, we go for this. So my first step is done. That is this first stage, that is development of the skeletal structure of the building. Now, what is the second stage? Second stage is I have to assign the supports. So I'm taking the supports. See here, I've taken the most the beams in the most base level. I will delete all these things and I will attach support to these nodes. Okay, so I will go to general, I will go to support. So I will take the front view. Okay, first of all, it is better that we take the front view, okay, because we can select the nodes from front view. It is very easy for us to select. These are the techniques which you will never get from anywhere. These are techniques which I discuss to my students. Okay? So always whenever there are techniques to do or develop or put any loading or any uh, tools on structure for supports, we have to first take the front elevation, and the same way we have to take the fixed support, we have to add, that means I have created the support right side. Okay, so I have created the fixed end support. It is quite possible or quite common in building structures. Now I will take the node cursor. So I will take the node cursor, okay, and I am selecting this. So supports. I am selecting the node cursor. I have selected the. If you want to see, you can see the. I have selected all these nodes in the absolutely the base level, and I will assign the fixed node. You can see I have assigned the fixed ends or fixed end supports to the support level. Next thing is that I will put the property. First stage is the supports. Second stage is property. Okay. So now I will again go back to my slide and I will check what are the beam sizes and column sizes. Now slab, we do not draw the slab. We can draw slab as plate. That is a special case. If you draw the slab as plate, then we do not have to give the floor load. Basically, we put the slab load as floor load. If you're not drawing the slab physically, then you can give the floor load. It automatically catches the beam. Now, if you're drawing the slab as plate, then we have to give plate load instead of floor load. So coming to beam, so we have along the 5-meter span, it is mentioned 250 mm by 600 mm. So along the 5-meter span means this one. Along the 5-meter span, if you have some problem, I can show you here also. This 30 meter. So along the 5-meter span, all the beams will be 250 by 600 mm. So come, let us see. Now I will take a different view. Let me take the left side view. Okay. So obviously the things will be my beam. So you can select the top view. For beams, you can select the top view. Okay. First, let us go to property. Okay. Property, first define this. Define rectangle, YD. YD is a depth. Depth is 600 mm, that is 0.6, and width is 0.25. Because sorry, so we are giving all the data in meters. Okay, we are giving all the data in meters. So that is why 600 mm is 0.6 meter, 250 mm is 0.25 meter. Okay. Next, another we have to design, that is the beams along 4-meter span. Beams along 4-meter span means these beams. These beams are 4-meter span beam. They are given as 250 by 550 mm. So again, I have to define. Slowly and slowly, we will proceed. So 250 mm by 550 mm. I'm creating another set of dimension of beams. They are concrete beams. So let me delete this. I have accidentally actually I have created a wrong set of beam sections. So again I will repeat the same steps. First is 0.6, 0.25. I will add again 0.55, 0.55 and 0.25. Again I will add, and again 250 mm by 400 mm along 2 meters span. So 250 by 600 mm span beams will be all this. You see, these are all 5 meter span beams. 250 by 550 mm beams will be this beam, that is along the 4 meter span, and along 2 meter span, these beams, they are all along 2 meter span. So they will be 250 by 400 mm. So these are the section I've created for my all these things. Now see here, if you see here reference, if you go to stat editor, now again the stat editor, you cannot see this, no problem. So see here the referencing is, if you see here, let me, if you see here, the referencing has wrongly given by 345, okay, because I had deleted two references. So if you want to change, if you want to make 1 2 3, because there are two more beam sections which I will create for columns. So if you want to sequentially write this number, we will go to stat editor, which I cannot show here now, and we will make the 345 as 1 2 3. Okay, I have not assigned, so no problem. Okay. Acha, next we will define for columns. Next, so we have completely done for beams. Next, we will go for columns. Okay. I am repeating again and again. We will not develop, or we will not draw big slabs. We will draw for beams and columns. Now for columns along 5 meter span, it is 300 by 600 mm. So these columns, along, we will take again for column section 300 by 600 mm. So the depth is 0.6 and width is 0.3. This is one thing. Again, another thing is that along 2 meter span, we will take 300 mm by 500 mm. So 0.5 meter, 0.3 meter width. So we have created all the rectangular concrete sections. Some will be for beams, some will be for columns. Okay. So coming to first, we will. So I have created my bucket list. Just like we create a bucket list whenever we want to buy any item in these online shopping apps like Amazon and Flipkart, we have a bucket list. We can add into cart. Similarly, here we have added in the bucket list. Okay. Now we will assign. So 0.6 into 0.25, that will be along 5 meter span. See here. So I am selecting all these. Sorry, I have to select for all the floors. So I will take this way. Okay. So along 5 meter span, the beams are all 250 mm by 600 mm. Please be very slow while giving or assigning this value, because once you have done wrongly, it is very difficult for you to again remove the mistake and again correct it. It's very difficult. So properly, first you will develop the structure, give the supports properly, and create the beam section, assign the beam section very properly. Okay. So I have very carefully selected the beams. Now I will assign this beam section to all these beams parallel along 5 meter. So I'm assigning this. Yes. If you check, and if you want to see the 3D view, we have seen the 3D views have been shown. Coming to next, another beam which is parallel around 4 meter. So we will go to top floor. The parallel around floor meter we have selected and we will assign. Again, the beams parallel along 2 meter. We will select, we will assign it. Yes. So now if you select this, if you see this, see very interestingly, pardon, very interestingly, we can see that all the beams parallel to x-axis, beams parallel to z-axis, they have been shown. So my dear students, those who are listening to my video lectures, don't be in a hurry. All the video lectures are uploaded in the YouTube channel. Slowly and slowly you can do yourself at home also. Because the thing which you do at home is very important. Okay. Slowly and slowly, I will send you the PPT where the problem statement is given. Okay. Now we have done all the beams. We will go for columns. Okay. So for columns, we have to be very selective because all the columns are not same. So to assign the columns, we cannot select beams parallel to y-axis because if all the columns are same dimension, no problem. We can select the beam section, go to select and beams parallel to y section. We go select beams parallel to y section. All these details I have discussed in my last class already. Okay. Now here we have to be very selective. It is mentioned that for 5 meter spans, the columns will be 300 mm by 600 mm. So we have to go top view. Best is you have to go top view and see here. So nicely I am selecting. You have to take a box pattern because since it is column, I am selecting. See, let me select and show you. See, very nicely I have selected the column. Again, I am showing you when all the columns are not same. We have selectively provide the columns. You take a small box area and select this. Press the control button in your keyboard and do this. So this is how we will go on selecting all these columns which are along the 5 meter span. The back side we have selected. Now we will select the front side. Be very serious during this time because a distraction for 1 second in this video will cost you lifetime. Okay. So we have selected all the columns which are along the 5 meter span and I have very properly selected. So we will assign now. Yes, done. Another remaining if you want to check now for this time being you have put, so for example consider this is a 50-storied building or 100-storied building where is a huge complex structure. Now you have provided all the properties, but you're opening this file on a next day. You have forgotten many things due to some workload. So how will you check which properties are given, which are not? If there is any structural element where the property is missing. So very important tool, we will go to select by missing attributes, missing property. Yes. So this is the missing property which is not yet given. Okay. So see here, also in this grid, we have beams and columns. So instantaneously, I can check which properties are left to be assigned. Are you understanding, my dear students? Don't feel sleepy. Are you understanding, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I know it is a very lengthy class, but you have to be serious. So see, on a next day, if I open this file and just imagine I have forgotten what I have done in my last class. So go to select beam, by missing attributes, missing property. Instantaneously, the missing property where I have not given the the properties, they will be selected. So I have to select the beams are also missing. The beams are also missing. The columns are missing, obviously. Columns, the last column was left. So first I will go to my top view. Again, I will take the first reference. See, I will select these beams also. I have forgotten to give these beams were also along the 5 meter span, right? So no problem, assign, yes. Now if I go to 3D view, 3D view, again, if we go to select by missing attributes, missing properties, only the columns are left. So we will go to top view, select the last option. So all these columns which are in the 2 meter span, they are all. So let me come for 2 meter span 300 by 500 mm. 2 meter span 300 by 500 mm. Okay. So I have selected these columns. Okay. So I will assign. Yes. One thing I have done the mistake that this column, that is the columns which were about, okay, no problem. Done. Okay. So I will control save and save it. Okay. One thing, there is a slight problem in this problem statement that column size for 2 meter span. For 2 meter span, the column size they have given 300 by 500 mm. Okay. So I have taken this only, this one for 2 meter span. Okay, so no problem, we have done. Now, if you want to, this thing is very important, which I was telling you, that now after assigning, I want to change the referencing number. Instead of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I want to give it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I will go to stat editor, which I cannot show you. Okay, this is not displaying in the screen actually. In the stat editor, I will mark the references 3 as 1, 4 as 2, like this. Okay, anyway, it is not creating any problem. So, okay, it is in stat editor, it is not creating any problem. So one thing is very important. Now what to do? If I remove this display, let us come back to our PPT. Yes, this was the thing. Okay, now coming to the PPT, one thing which I was discussing, that the grade of concrete. See, AIM-25. So for AIM-25, we have to change in STAAD editor the Young's modulus and everything. Okay, so AIM-25. So please someone tell me the value of the Poisson's ratio of concrete. Poisson's ratio of concrete. Now I am going to STAAD editor. Let me put off this sharing.
Sir,
Just wait.
0.2 to 0.3.
Okay, thank you. Just wait. Let me again present the stat file. Yes.
So 0.20 to 0.25.
0.2, 0.2, 0.5, no problem. So now, after giving these properties, we will provide now the main thing, the change we make in the STAAD editor. I already showed you the last day. Again, I will repeat the same thing. Go to STAAD editor. I had showed you because since we cannot represent the STAAD editor in the online class, it is, I don't know, this window is not sharing in the screen, so I cannot share you. I shared with you the change by showing we can print the STAAD editor in PDF form. Before change and after change, I had showed you. Okay. So today also, I am doing this thing. I'm changing the Poisson ratio 0.2. Density, you can take 25 because we know the unit weight of concrete is 25 kilonewton per meter cube. FCU is 25,000. And Young's modulus, what was the value of Young's modulus which came last day?
So 790569.
Just a minute. Yeah, 790,569.
569.
Thank you. The Young's modulus I have changed, Poisson ratio, and all these things have changed. So we will save the change in the STAAD editor, and I am closing. Okay. Now, if I show you, let me take a printout of the STAAD editor. Printout means the PDF form. I will
So,
show you. Yeah, please.
sir, I think the stat editor is not displaying because you're not displaying the entire screen, sir. You're not presenting the entire screen. If you're just presenting a single window, then only the main window will pop up.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Siddharth, na? No? Interesting. Yes. Okay, okay. Now, whatever screen I may share, that will be available, right?
Yes, sir.
Let me check. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. So see here, this is the STAAD editor, all the codings, whatever we have done, that I can see. Okay. If say this part, I change this one. Isotopic concrete, okay. E790, E790, Poisson's ratio 0.2, density, alpha, dampness, all the same. Again, the strength, FCU 25,000, because we know characteristic strength is 25 Newton per millimeter square. We are converting that 25 Newton per millimeter square to kilonewton per meter square. Okay. That is 25,000. I have showed you the conversion last day. Okay. So after this, we have to put the loads, but before that, we will now set up the bucket list for loads. So I think, sir, I have discussed all these things with you. We will go to load and definition. So load and definition, first we will create the definition. Now we are delving into this one, this earthquake analysis. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yes. So this earthquake analysis, now we will start. So first thing uh, that what we will do before directly adding the loads, will not now add the loads. This is the difference. Okay. First, we will go for definition. You click on this plus definition. It is plus sign is there. Click on this plus. Now there are a lot of definitions are there. If you do any Indian Road Congress code, IRC code, we can use vehicle definition, time history definition. If you using the wind load according to IS 875 part 3, then we can go for wind definition, snow load, seismic definition. Our task is to select the seismic definition. Okay, we have to add this thing. Now see all these parameters given in Indian code, we will select. So we will select the seismic definition, add. A window will come. Now what we will do? Type of the code to be selected. I will select this code. I will click this down arrow. I will click this down arrow and I will select an Indian code. What is my code? We have two Indian codes. IS 1893, 1984, which is very, very primitive. We don't need. Now another is IS 1893, 2002 code. Latest version of STAT, which is STAT Connect, but not used in many of the offices, they have 2016 code also. So we are using 2002 code, no problem. Okay, now we have to select all these values. Response reduction factor, importance factor, everything. Okay, so let us go to the slide. What the values they have taken, that I will take. So coming to this PPT. Now coming to their values, see here. Yes, first is this one, this thing, the response reduction factor. So the response reduction factor are, see here, they have taken the last line. If you can see this thing, they have taken R as 3. Taken R as 3. Importance or impedance factor, it is also known as importance factor. Okay, I is 1.5, Z 0.36. Bhuj earthquake, Bhuj, Gujarat. I will select the city. You will see automatically 0.36 is selected. Average response SA by G value is 2.5. Okay, 2.5. So average response acceleration coefficient 2.5, Z 0.36, I 1.5, R 3, and the natural time period which they have taken is this. They have not put the brick infill walls. They have taken this formula. See, for frame buildings, they have taken 0.075 h to the power 0.75. Here they have not considered the infill walls. But in our building, I will include the infill walls. Okay. Physically, I am not developing the walls, but I will take the formula where the walls are taken. Okay, that is more critical case. This is a lighter case. Okay, they have taken the frame structure. That means in realistic and in Statro model, they have taken both same. In Statro model, we only draw the beams and columns, the frame structure, and they have taken the natural time period formula according to that. But in construction, we all know that along with the frame structure, we have the brick infill walls. So also we will put the wall loading also, right? So we will use the formula of this formula I showed you. Coming to the this one, TA equals to, everyone please write down because I need the calculation. TA equals to 0.09 into h divided by root d. Along x direction, it will be length along x direction. Sometimes in z direction, it will be along z direction. Okay. So please write this formula in your copy because I want you to calculate. 0.09 d h, h is missing. 0.09 h divided by root d. Okay. So coming to this stat file again, now response reduction factor, yes, R. R is 3. R3 importance factor, they have taken 1.5. So if you can see minutely the window, the zone, very important, the zoning is important. Or rather we can, instead of putting values here, sorry, we can also generate, okay. Better is we can select the generate option and here all the parameters we can select. City for the zone factor, the city, there are two options, city and zone. We select the city, we select the Bhuj and see automatically the zone is 0.36. If you don't want to put city, you can put zone. You can select zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5. Initially Bhuj, before earthquake, it was in zone 3. But after severe earthquake, it was updated to zone 5. Again, a very this same advancement or upgradation was observed in various states of or various cities of India. Okay, we'll go for city, we'll go for Bhuj, and the zone automatically they are selected from database because they are all stored from the IS code. Okay, the database is given. Response reduction, I told you we will only go for OMRF because we are designing according to IS 456. So OMRF, the response reduction factor is 3, importance factor is 1.5, and for soil type, now we have to go for soil type. Okay. So soil type SA by G, they have taken this SA by G type 2 soil. Okay, type 2 soil. So hard soil, type 2 means medium soil. Okay. Damping ratio 5%, period in X, period in Z. The period in X will be Tx. The formula is Tx is equals to 0.09 H by root T. So now it is our task to calculate this. Here we will not take this value. This I am not taking this formula. We will take the formula as Tx is equals to, please calculate and tell me the value. Now let us come to the stat file. You can easily calculate. So along x direction, if you see here, if I show the plan, along x direction, we have 30 meters. So what is the time period? Calculate the formula. Tx time period along x direction. Here h is 15 meter height. If you don't take the plinth level, it is 15 meter, and the distance is 30 meter. So please calculate the period in x, 0.09 into the height, that is 15 meter, divided by root d, that is root 30, it is 5.477. Have you calculated Tx? Anyone calculated Tx? No one. No one is interested in the class. Okay, anyways,
So
so
0.246.
how much it is coming?
0.2464.
Yes, 0.246. Yes, correct. And period in z-axis, you take the dimension along z-axis. That is along z, it is 6 meter. It is 0.55. Yes. So I
Yes,
have
okay.
calculated both the periods along x and z direction because I will take the seismic load in both the axes, x-axis as well as z-axis. That is why. Okay. Now we have put all these values, no problem. Now we will generate. Just after generating, we can see all this updation has been done in this table. Okay. Now self-weight factor for seismic load, self-weight will be 1. Okay. It will not be -1 because seismic load does not act in vertical downward direction unlike dead load and live load. The seismic factor will be 1 because if I take plus x-axis plus z-axis minus x and minus z, so the seismic factor will be 1. Okay. And again coming to my presentation, here the seismic weight they have calculated. The seismic weights for floor is 3291 and for roof is 1831 kilonewton. So floor weight, so that is basically the floor weight. Seismic weight is the floor weight. Okay. We will go to the floor weight and pardon. Okay. Okay. Now, after this, so we have created the seismic definitions. Okay. Just a minute. City, just let me repeat the same steps. I am repeating the same steps. Okay. I am putting the TX and TZ. Soil structure, I have soil type medium soil, importance 1.5 and all these things. I'm generating. Sulfate is 1. And now seismic parameters, I have to add this thing. Until I add this thing, this will not come. Okay. See here, seeing the right side, it is added. Okay. Now we will start with the load case details. Load case details first will be, always remember whenever we go only for dead load and live load, dead load after dead load then live load. But whenever we are discussing the seismic load, acha, in your model you can take the study of seismic load, wind load, dead load and live load, 4 critical cases. But always remember whenever we consider seismic loads, we need not consider the wind load, or whenever you're considering the wind load, we did not consider seismic load. Okay. So first type is number 1. First will be seismic. Okay. The first will be seismic. So I am putting the name SL plus X. That means along positive X direction, I am giving this thing. I am adding. Again number 2, it will be SL minus X It is minus x direction. Since the loading is horizontal, so it can take in any direction. Okay. Similarly, seismic SL plus Z and SL minus Z. So I've selected, I've created the bucket list of seismic load. Then I will go for this dead load. Because I'm not taking the wind load here. So my case 5 number is dead load and case 6 is live. Okay. So the first thing is done, that I have created the bucket. Okay. Now see, first I will take the seismic load plus X, I will add. We will select the seismic loads. Okay. Seismic loads. We have various load patterns, self-fed, nodal load, member load, all these things. Directly, blindly, since it is under seismic load, so I will select this thing and add. Seismic loads along X direction, factor will be 1. Okay. Along X direction, the factor will be 1. And nothing I have to add. Okay. X1 close. That means since it is in +1, sorry, I have added seismic load +1, add. So see, while adding, after adding, you can see the change is there. So I have taken the factor 1 because it is in +X. Now if I take for seismic load along -X, I will select the seismic load and factor will be -1. Again for SL plus Z direction, seismic loads Z direction, factor 1, add close. And also along the -Z direction, seismic loads Z direction -1. Okay. So you can put enter or you can add option. Okay. By adding any item, you can put these things. Okay. No problem. Now we'll put the dead load. First is the self-weight y -1. We will add this thing, the basic thing which we all follow. Now coming to the PPT, the loads they have taken, let us. So these are all the seismic loads. Let me show you. So these are all the seismic, the self-weight. These are all the self-weights. We have to put the floor load. This load we have to put, okay, as floor load under dead load. Because for slabs, they do not, because since we are not creating slab, so adding self-weight option, it will not take this load. Okay, 5 kilonewton per meter square slab load I will take as floor load. You know that the technical term which the STAD understands. STAD understands floor load, FL. This is the technical term. Okay, and for beams, all these things we do not have to put because they're all treated under self-weight. Now the things we have to do is this wall load, or this weight of the wall per meter, that is the exterior wall for all the floors, parapet wall, that is a wall load on the roof. Okay, so all these things. So coming to this, now already I have selected the self-weight. Now it is my turn to add the, first we will select the member load. Member load for wall thickness, I told you, that's for walls, the value is 10 kilonewton per meter. See here, for walls apart from the floor, we will select 10 kilonewton. Okay, so now since I am creating the bucket list, only I am just putting minus 10 kilonewton per meter. Uniform force going under member load, uniform force, and W minus 10. Add. Okay. Another we will add for parapet wall. If you check here, parapet wall is 2.5. 2 point. So I'm creating all these are bucket list. Okay. 2.5. Acha, one thing very important practically, whenever we go for this wall load, providing the wall load, there are three types of wall load. One is exterior load, which we have taken here, 10. Another is interior wall load. Interior wall load we take slightly less than the exterior wall load. Okay. Here they have not taken for the problem statement. Only they have taken the basic wall load of minus 10 kilonewton per meter, which you can see here. This is minus 10. This I have highlighted, minus 10 kilonewton per meter. I have selected the parapet wall. After this, I will add the floor load. Floor load pressure is, now I will find out the height also. Okay. Let me check the height. So in many cases, we take the floor, the slab load, the floor load for the roof as different, and for other floors a bit more than the roof level. But here I am taking all the floor load, the slab thickness as same. Okay, I'm taking the floor load as 5 kilonewton per meter square, as I have shown here. This one, 5 kilonewton per meter square. Okay. Now coming back to the point, so I'm adding. So let me take the height first. Our height is 16 meter. Okay, because I have taken the plinth level. So dead load, we have to add floor load. Now we are providing the load for slab. Floor load pressure is minus 5 kilonewton per meter square. Minimum wide range is taken as 0 because from the ground we are taking, and maximum it is so it is 16 meters, so we may take 20. Okay, so all the floors lying within this range, see automatically, if you see the front view, all the floor loads they have taken. So very nice, they have shown the all the trapezoidal distribution. Can anyone tell me, based on this trapezoidal distribution, what type of slab is this? What type of slabs have been formed? Can you tell me? My dear students, I'm asking something. Based on this slab load distribution, just tell me what type of slab is this? Anyone? No idea? Since it is the trapezoidal section, the trapezoidal distribution, it is two-way slab. All these slabs are two-way. Okay. Again, coming to live load, we can go to add, and we have to select the floor load, and now we will select the floor load as, again, if you come to this live load, we will take floor load as 2 kilonewton per meter square. 2 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, this one, 2 kilonewton per meter square. So pressure again minus 2 kilonewton per meter square throughout all the floors. We will add, pardon, we have written wrongly, from 0 to 20. Okay, I'm taking all the live loads same from floor level, from the base level to the roof. Okay, no problem. So this I have taken the live load. I've shown the slab load. Now we will take the self weight of all the beams and columns. So we'll go to assign to view. Assign to view does select everything. Okay. Assign. Yes. That means all the beams and columns are selected. Now this is for the floors. So we will select this part. Now I am going to put, see, now I am going to put this load. This one, if I select this thing, this load I am putting weight of wall per meter, which is basically the exterior wall as well as the interior wall load. They have taken the same as 10 kiloton per meter. So what will I do? I will remove the roof level. I will select all the floors except the roof level, and I will select the option select selected objects only, or view selected objects only. Okay. So coming to this, so I have selected only the floor except the roof. I will go to view selected objects only. Okay. Now all these are selected. So now I will give the beam load, because we all know that wall load falls on the beams. So we will select all the beams. Beams along parallel to x-axis, parallel to z-axis, all beams we will select. If you see, we have properly selected all the beams, and I will assign selected beams, assign, yes. So very interestingly, all our beams have been selected except the roof. Selected, so you can see, if you want to check, we have to click this display whole structure. If you can see, these beams are still remaining, and all the other beams other than the roof level, they are subjected under UDL of this thing, this wall thickness or wall load. Now I have given the wall load. Now it is time to give the parapet wall load. So I will select this load. First, I will select this parapet wall level. Select the 3D isometric view selected objects only. So now I will, whatever I select, if you select, see this, whatever I select, only the roof level will be selected. So go to top view. Select this option, and I will select only the exterior beams. Obviously, we will not select the interior beams because parapet wall load does not act on the interior beams. So all the exterior beams have been selected. I will assign, yes. If you see, I have selected this parapet wall load. Now coming back to my original structure, I will click on display whole structure. So all the loadings have been given very nicely. Now, after doing this, we have to make some modifications. Okay. So at this stage, whatever the things we have done, we have developed the frame structure. We have assigned the supports. We have assigned the properties of all the beams columns. We have assigned the load. Okay. We have created the seismic load definitions. Only the final part is remaining. That is, again, we have to go to, now in order to calculate this seismic weight, dead load, live load, all we have calculated, but our seismic weight, this W is remaining. Okay, this W, if you see, the seismic weight is remaining. W. That means we have to acknowledge, or we have to inform StatPro that whatever load I've created, this by manually we can do this calculation. The load is coming 18,286 kilonewton as seismic load, which is basically a member load. Okay, this is the manual way, and in StatPro, what is the way I will show you. Okay, so this thing is remaining, that we have to inform that whatever the dead load and live load I have applied, whatever the dead load or live load I have applied on the structure, they will behave as seismic weight on the structure. This I have to make some changes so that StatPro can understand. Till now, StatPro will not able to understand the load is seismic. Okay. So coming back to the StatPro file, we will go to Stat Editor, and we will directly go to the member load section. We will select this member load section, copy, and we will paste it under the seismic, under the seismic, wherever we have started the writing that seismic definition as well as the zone. Below that, we will put this member. Now we will give the name member weight. Instead of member load, we will give the name member weight, because that will understand then only. And this UNI, that is the uniform GY, we will only put UNI 10. We will remove the negative sign, UNI 2.5. So UNI 10 is the brickwork load, UNI 2.5 is a parapet 1 load. Okay, so we have removed the member load as member weight. We have replaced member load as member weight, and this thing which is given UNI GY, that is a global Y direction, we will just remove this GY part. Okay, and also the floor load we will copy and will paste here. The floor load will be replaced as floor weight. Floor weight. Again the floor load, F load 5. Okay. GY will replace. That means the vertical load it will replace. Okay. And also till now I have copied from the dead load section. Now I will copy from the live load section. Same thing, floor weight. This thing we will. Okay, so now the changes we have done, you can find this in the seismic load definition. You plus in the where the zone, response factor, everything is given. You can select this. You can find out the member weights are given, floor weight is given, and all these things are given. Okay, perfect. Okay. Now, after doing all these things, we will go for analysis. Sorry, not analysis. Last, we will go to the last part of load time definition. Select the load case details. Add. Now we'll do the load combination. Simple. So we will select the load case details. Add. Auto load combination. Select the load code, Indian code. Generate structures. We will generate the loads. whatever the load combinations have been formed, we will add these things, close. Okay, so automatically, since we have uh, four seismic load cases along with dead load and live load, and we will go to this uh, auto load combination and all these load combinations. So completely from 1 to 33 load combinations have been formed. Okay? Because we have taken all the load combinations. First is the simple part we all know, that is the limit state design. So this is the Indian code of IS 1893. So everyone knows that we follow the limit state codal load combinations. Every terminology is given in this code. Okay, so no problem in IS 1893. So see, this is the thing which I'm discussing, that for, yes, this one 1.5 times, I increase the screen, 1.5 times dead load plus live load, 1.2 dead load, live load plus minus earthquake load, 1.5 dead load plus minus earthquake load, and finally 0.9 dead load and 1 plus minus 1.5 earthquake load. So all these load combination, these stat pros, they have taken into consideration. Okay, all they have taken into consideration. Final three remaining is we will go to analysis and print all and okay. So finally we will, okay, so now under so I am doing this defined add current, and lastly okay. So finally we will analyze. Already perform analysis has been added. So we are analyzing. Let us check. There is one error. So let us see where the error is. Load x1. So seismic load x1. So we have to analysis and print. Let us see. Run analysis. So the stat is doing the analysis, and absolutely we have having zero error. We will go to view output. Okay, we will directly go to view output. You can select the results. Okay, we can select the results, and we can find out that how much load has been. See, if you can scroll down slowly, we have to scroll down. We have taken the load case details. So all these lateral forces have been shown here. Okay, all these lateral load, the output is shown. Okay, so you can check the loads coming at every floor level. So maximum displacement, if you see under this earthquake, maximum displacement along x direction, at which node is taken, they have shown that, okay. So after this design, if I can go to this output file, so see if here at every joint, the forces have been given, okay. At every joint, the forces are given for various load types. Okay, so this is how our seismic load. So this is the table. So this is the table they have taken. So this was the, so from ground level to the roof level, the weight of each floors, the seismic weight is given, and height they have taken, and all these values will be coming in this form. So such loads are acting on the each and every floors. Incremental, if you see the variation of these lateral forces are always parabolic. Always parabolic. The variation of these lateral forces are always parabolic, and the base shear is something like this. They go on increasing. Okay. So I told you maximum base shear at the floor height. Sorry, at the plinth level. Okay. So understand this is how the total earthquake analysis is done. Okay, so this is how the total analysis is done, and I hope we have understood earthquake analysis according to IS 1893 equivalent static analysis that I wanted to show you.